Good afternoon and welcome to the Martin County Community Redevelopment Agency for Monday, June 28th. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. If everyone would please rise for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll now move on to the minutes. I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes from May 24th. Do we have a motion?
I make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Any other further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Do we have any disclosures of conflicts of interest? No? Okay, we're good there. Thank you. Okay, comments section. Members of the public, if you're wanting to speak, please state your name for the record and come join us. Good afternoon, Julie.
Priest, resident of Rio. You will be discussing the CRA septic to sewer project in Rio. As I left today, they had several pieces of equipment doing their directional drilling. It's going extremely well. I know Leo is here to report on it, and causing very little disruption at all to traffic on Rio Avenue and Alice Street. They're also going to be going down Cuban. I haven't gone down that street, but I'm sure everything's going well there too. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Julie. Okay, seeing no other members of the public, do we have any member comments? No.
None.
Everybody good?
None.
Okay, staff comments? No, good. All right, so presentation, CRA capital projects update. Ms. Cortez.
Okay, good afternoon, members of the board. Susan Cortez, Manager, Office of Community Development for the record, and we are here to do our capital projects review. As always, I will pick out some and you can ask questions on any of those that you care to. We're going to move right to Golden Gate, El Camino. Josh gave a fantastic presentation last week to the Recreational Trails Program folks. They're the DEP piece of DEP that is offers the Recreational Trails grants. And we are number 7 on a list of 22. So looks good. Prayers are always helpful. If you know anyone there, that could be helpful. I'm teasing. But yeah, it looks very, very good. All of the DEP grants, or most of them, are done on a point system. So it's really just a question of if you have the points. And I think that it's such a great project, and obviously they thought it was pretty good as well. Bridge Road. I did want to just show you something really quick. It's all going very well, just about done. And I wanted to give you a little picture of people behaving themselves and parking the way they should. Doesn't that look beautiful?
It does.
Right?
It does.
And then just a little added bonus underneath that are the banners that will be going up on the light poles. So those are our banners for Hope Sound.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Were those in-house designed, the banners?
No, we had someone else design and print and do
Okay.
all. So the nice part about that is banners can be tricky and challenging because they're outside all the time. They're subject to all kinds of weather, sometimes trucks, depending on where they're placed. And we have Flamingo, I believe, Flamingo Signs is doing the printing and also doing install and deinstall. So we have that built into the price so that we can put them up and we can take them down for the first couple of times. And then after that, we'll, see how it goes. I mean, we will probably change out banners in the different CRAs. Once we kind of get that going a little bit. They're not inexpensive to do, but very worthwhile, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done Bridge Road so far, and we'll have some for Map Road as well when we get to that point.
Do the chambers contribute to that at all? Because I know in Jensen, pretty much the Jensen Beach Chamber does their own signs.
Yeah, that could be something that we look at in the future. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Right now, we did them as part of the project itself, but I think in the future we'll definitely want to do that, and for other reasons than just for cost, also for a little bit more community engagement, maybe get some businesses involved, have maybe an art competition, for local folks or kids, or, there's a lot of things you can do that would make it, I think, more interesting and get a little more community involvement.
Yeah, okay, good.
Okay. Okay, moving to Hobe Sound, Gomez Affordable Housing. That's a project that is kind of, I want to say, a little under the radar because it's not like a big, oh my gosh, a big, huge change that people are driving down every day, like the bigger streets that we're doing. But it's going so beautifully, and I wanted you all to see what it really looks like. So this is the area right here where the project takes place. Here's Federal Highway. Here's that gas station, Speedway. What do they call it?
Racetrack?
Racetrack. Why do I always call it Speedway? Racetrack. And like I said, here's Federal Highway. So the project starts, or this is what it looked like. This was the design. So you can see this is Federal Highway is over here. Denny Drive is here. This is the new road that went in, and it's called Douglas Way, Queen Drive, and Haslam. So those are the three new kind of roads that went in. This is more of a design of where the homes will be. So you get the feel of, okay, here's the street, and here are the homes. You can see where they're going to go. This is some detention areas. That's a home that's already, here's the home that's already there. And all of the underground is done. As you know, we were doing pretty much all the infrastructure. So that's all complete, and now it's the infrastructure that you see, which is roadways. So you can see this is Denny right here, and of course this will be repaved. This is Denny Drive, so you can see the new road. And here it is. Just a couple of more pictures. They're not probably as exciting as some, but exciting to see, because what happens is these pictures are even a few weeks ago. So curbs are being installed, the light poles are just about all in, sidewalks are getting started. So it really will start to look like a little community just waiting for the homes to be built. So just wanted to give you all a kind of an idea of what was going on there, because I think it's really exciting.
And it's gaining a lot of attention down in Hobe Sound.
Is it?
I get 2 or 3 calls a week telling me about it, even though I drive by it all the time. Oh, they put curbs in. Oh, they did this. People always asking for pictures because they want to put them in their publications and things like that. So it's garnering a ton of attention, basically because of where it is. It's right out in the open.
Yep.
From the habitat perspective, we've been asked to put a sign up, so we're looking to put a sign up just saying the name of the neighborhood and partners. So we'll have the CRA on the board as well.
Sounds good.
And obviously when we get to that point, I'll let you see it. But
Okay.
I know there's been a little bit of a groundswell to get some signage out there to let people know exactly what it is and what's going on.
Yeah,
So,
we had one on Bridge and something on Maps. So yeah, I think it's a good idea. It's time.
yeah, no, for sure.
The other thing, Mike, is have you guys been getting a lot of applications or interest?
Yes, we've been getting a ton of applications. I think we cut it up. We only opened it up for the first 6 houses. We're doing it in 3 phases of 6. We opened it up for the first six houses, and we stopped the number of applications at 250.
Wow.
Oh, my. Wow.
Is it kind of a first come?
Yeah, that's how, we're a mortgage company, so we have to work on first come, first serve, first qualified. So we've got our 6 for the first phase, and then we'll move on to the second phase. But yeah, as soon as you say applications are open, especially in that area, just flooded.
Wow.
So,
Well, that's great. We won't have to worry about.
oh no, they'll be filled up quickly. I'm going to need 17 more of these neighborhoods throughout the county.
Seriously. Okay, let's move on. Port Salerno, just wanted to mention the infrastructure project there, the water project there. The first phase is just about complete. Second phase is design is complete and it's ready to go out to bid. So we'll be seeing that happen, and hopefully it'll be pretty seamless for the community. You know, first phase will end, second phase will start, and you know, I'm thinking that nobody might even notice that's happened. Rio property acquisition, I did want to mention that we will be having demolition. I know, Rich, you had asked about that. We had talked about it, I think, in an earlier meeting, and just so you can see where that's going to be happening, we are doing a demo. So it's right here. It's 1226 Charlotte. There's two structures on that property, and that's going to be happening Wednesday morning, starting at 8 a.m. And then we will also be doing this one. The house, it will remain, but there's three other structures that you can't even see them in here, that will be coming down. And that will be happening either later in the week or next week.
And so the structure that's remaining, there's no electric or water going there, however?
To the house?
Right.
I believe it has, yeah, it's not on, but there's potential.
Are you going to do anything with that, or?
Don't know. We've been giving it some consideration, whether we want to keep it, whether we want to move it, if somebody else would be interested in it. Kind of haven't really made up our minds what to do. It's, you know, it's the kind of thing where it's not a bad house, just not sure what the best use of it would be, you know? Moving on to Rio Septic to Sewer, that's going to be Leo. So I'm not going to say anything more about that. Map Road ribbon cutting, I did want to let everybody know. Oh, I don't have to go back to the other. That we will be holding that on August 14th. So you'll all get a formal invitation, but this is a save the date for you. August 14th, it's a Saturday at 10 a.m. And we're going to make a little party out of it. So it will be a ribbon cutting ceremony, but it will also be some businesses are going to be out there with booths. The CRA will be out there. We might have the firehouse involved and some things for kids to do. I think it'll be fun. Let people know about Ripple. If I can get Lucy there, we'll, you know, see if she'll give them a tour. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So it's going to be some fun events plus a ribbon cutting, and you'll get to see all of the new Map Road, which I don't know if anyone has driven down there, but wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What a transformation.
Big difference.
I was there about a week or so ago. I think I was down there. It was nice.
Amazing difference. And the businesses are all real excited about it. We had put out something that said, you know, first come, first serve. This is how many we could have, and 2 days, done. Everybody wanted to be involved.
Good.
And I think that is it for my capital project update. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have a couple questions. I passed the post office and the corner of Dixie and Seaward, and he's planted some really nice plantings and grass and close to Dixie. And then on the other side, I think he's getting, you know, that's where he's going to have the boat parking or whatever, but it looks really nice. I mean, there's at least something. So how is Seaward going?
So I think I'll have, is Josh here? I'm going to have Josh come up and give you a little more information on that.
Okay. Because that's a public-private partnership,
Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm.
Hi, Josh Mills, project manager. So that is a public-private partnership where Mr. Harmon of the Boatyard did a payment in lieu of towards a sidewalk fund. The project itself, though, has grown well beyond that. We're doing a traditional neighborhood design to incorporate curb, sidewalk, and lighting on both sides of Seaward and extending all the way down the Park Drive. The final plans will have a match line to treat Seaward and Park as if they're one project, and we'll send that out to bid as one. We're also raising the road about 3.5 feet, and that's because there's a lot of severe flooding and shoreline resiliency issues with Park Drive. So we looked at the elevation, our consultant using survey points, and the homes won't be affected. They sit high enough, so we'll be able to transition to where it's not Seaward as you're heading east dips down, and then Park Drive dips up as you go. So this will alleviate all that pooling and flooding that happens right there at that southeast corner.
Okay.
So it's turned into a much larger project. Additionally as well, sorry, I just forgot, Seaward, kind of, if you're coming east on Seaward from the west side of Dixie, the road does kind of a little jog where you have to come up. We're going to straighten out Seaward and put a designated right-hand turn lane. So as you're coming west, then you turn north on Dixie. So we're incorporating a whole bunch of different things. As always, hindsight is 2020. The more that we delve into this and survey and have other eyes looking at it, we're seeing a lot of kind of inconsistencies and things that we can fix now that are just going to, if we didn't, they would end up being fixed, corrected in the future.
And utilities as well, right, Josh?
Yes, correct. And we're including sewer for Seaward, DeSoto, and Park.
Oh, good.
DeSoto was incorporated because, and Mr. Rapetti, this is at his direction, it's much easier to tie into Bayview, run the line down DeSoto, and then tee it from there, Seaward, and then Park Drive.
Thank you.
So we are trying hard not to do double duty. So if we
Yeah.
see things we can do, although at some point we actually do have to
Start.
do the project.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
But all of these things that have been incorporated, I think, are very well thought out and necessary.
And my second question was, you said something about the El Camino Trail and you're like 7th in this grant pecking order type of thing. Do you know who your competition is, and is it still time to enhance your proposal, or?
No, actually, the proposals are done. The presentations are done. Like, it's all complete and it's all been submitted.
Okay.
We do know who our competitors are, and because it's all listed, so it's all different cities and communities around Florida.
Okay.
There were originally 28, and some of them didn't pass all of the approval mechanisms, so it dropped down to 22. And again, it's on a point basis. A lot of them are really nice projects. Some of them are just rebuilds from hurricanes. You know, like up in the Panhandle, there's areas of just boardwalk that's all been destroyed. You know, so it's some of that too.
Okay.
So it's interesting. It's motorized and non-motorized trails. So I think we're in really good shape.
Okay. So they're all trail oriented, something like, they're all
Yes.
kind of like that? Okay.
Yes.
Sorry.
Josh Mills again. And also, all the first 7 projects, to include ours, still does not reach the max amount of funding.
Right.
So
Oh.
even if we are 7th, we're still okay.
Oh, okay. Good. Thank you.
So good shape.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Anybody else?
Yeah, I have one. About that trail system and the point system you're talking about, what are some of the criteria that they're looking at?
So, for example, they like you to have X amount of public meetings. They want you to have a meeting about just the project, public meeting about just the project. They want you to be able to say that you've been to, like, your Parks and Rec Advisory Board. And then there's the elements of the project itself. So there's some things that they'll pay for and some things that they won't. So the elements obviously make up a great deal of what they're looking for. So that's kind of pretty much what it is. I don't know, Josh, can you think of anything else? Getting your exercise today.
I mean, they want to see native landscaping. They want to see,
Well, and it
environmentally
depends.
friendly.
It depends
Okay.
on what your elements are. So again, there's, this one is very complicated in that we have a grant from the LCWF, LWCF. And so there's elements that they're going to support. So we couldn't have the same elements being
I
supported
see.
in this one. So it does get complicated to figure out, who's going to do what.
Okay.
Additional criteria?
To the additional criteria, as Susan said, different meetings, who you engage, what type of stakeholders, if there's a historical structure or a reference within the area. So we have the Golden Gate Center. Is it a need for the community? Golden Gate is heavily pedestrian friendly, so then it definitely satisfies a need there. So it's all different point systems based
Right.
on what's needed in the area.
Right, does it look into a larger trail?
Correct. Income plays a role with the area median income of the community and stuff too. So there's a bunch of different elements like that are all along that same line. And then as far as the trail itself, it's anything trail related. It can be trail adjacent, but it has to affect the trail. So we have we're going to put removable bollards at the ingress egress of each end of the trail before you enter an intersection or a road. While that's not a trail item itself, it's a trail feature, and it's in the name of safety. So that's something that they approve and they're going to cover, so we can protect the people as they cross each road, which I believe there's going to be 10 crossings total. So there's a lot of streets to go over.
So what is the source of this money? We're appealing to get a grant from,
The Department of Environmental Protection, and then they have different programs that get funded. So this one is called Recreational Trails.
okay.
And the other one, I think, is DEP as well, right?
It is DEP. It's kind of filtered through DEP, but it's the Park Service, the National Park Service, who actually administers, and then they facilitate through Department of Environmental Protection, who essentially handles all the grant work, following stipulations and requirements, and that everything is met.
And that's called the Land and Water Conservation Fund.
Mhm.
That's the name of that program.
Thank you again.
Any other comments?
Yes, when they gonna start?
Josh? Did you want to just sit here for the?
We're the 90%. I'm hopefully by the end of the week, I'm going to this afternoon send a reminder to everyone who's doing their reviews and comments that we need to move quickly. We have to coordinate with utilities as well as the main to the vacuum house will be running through the right of way of the trail. I don't want to commit to anything. It'll definitely be by the end of this year, calendar year. But I can't commit to an exact shovel in the ground date yet. Sorry.
How about Dixie Highway?
Dixie Highway, they should be mobilizing, I would say, end of July, early August. As everyone's well aware, materials are hard to come by right now. That's delayed them slightly, but they're still looking to be, it only delayed them by a couple weeks, so I still anticipate that they'll get going end of July, early August. But that was the last I heard, and that was at a coordination meeting last week.
Thank you, Josh.
Anything else, Golden Gate, Port Salerno? No?
I think we're good.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else have any questions, comments? No? Okay. Thank you, Susan. Next on our agenda is CRA Septic to Sewer Project for Rio, Mr. Leo Rapetti. Thank you for joining us today.
Use that to point, shoot.
Hi, everyone. Leo Rapetti with Martin County Utilities. What I have in front of you is a presentation that we gave to the residents of the first phase of the 3 phases in the Rio Septic to Sewer program within the CRA. We're big fans of communicating with the residents once we get things going. We have some definitive dates. So this process started with letters to approximately 240 residents in the first of 3 phases for Rio to invite them to a public workshop to discuss the program. And we started off with about, 20 to 30 minutes of just discussion as people were coming in. And then the presentation lasted probably half an hour with another half hour of questions and comments. And it was a good meeting because at the end of this, everyone was positive. I didn't have any naysayers in the audience that were against the program, and everyone's looking forward to having their area available for connection to municipal sewer. This presentation was given on June 9th. They actually started construction on June 21st. The project is expected to last 120 days, which gives us completion date of October 20th, I think is the official date. That being said, We've got the perfect storm of the general contractor who's actually, this is the third project that they've done, the grinder backbone infrastructure for us. They're very good at what they do. They're quick and efficient. The perfect storm is they have people, they have 3 drilling rigs, and they have materials. So the good news is that we're hoping to beat that date, even though they are supposed to be substantially complete in 120 days. So that being said, on to our presentation here. Our septic and sewer program was initiated by the Board of County Commissioners to try to convert neighborhoods in a systematic method to try to create a plan to take approximately 12,000 septic systems in our service area out of service, at least provide the means for residents to connect. So if you can think 12,000 septic systems isn't going to happen overnight, we're on track right now to do about 1,000 a year. Our short-term plan, our 5-year plan, has us doing about 5,000 conversions, and those neighborhoods include the Ryle project we're going to talk about, Golden Gate, which is underway at the moment. We have plans pretty much done for Old Palm City. We expect the Golden Gate vacuum sewer project to be completed by the end of 2022 and up and running. A year behind that, the Old Palm City vacuum sewer up and running end of 2023. And then right behind that, we just started design now, would be the Port Salerno, New Monrovia vacuum sewer system in 2024. So end of 22, end of 23, end of 24. Those are tentative dates. I mean, things are obviously subject to change, but that's what we're looking at. Those 3 neighborhoods are much bigger than and a little more compact than some stuff that we're doing in Rio. Rio is a very long, linear project, and I've got the creek at Beacon 21, so it's hard for me to do that in a vacuum sewer system. So we felt that the grinder system program would be well suited for this area. And this is one of those examples of how the CRA has really benefited the community, whereas this project, utilities with their own funding can only do so much in a year. We're working with Public Works, and with CRA, we're able to accelerate this project by about 2 years, and then the duration is going to be in about a year to get all 3 phases done, whereas it may have taken 2 to 3 years for utilities to do this on their own with all the other projects that we're doing. So this is really a big blessing to have CRA involved in this project.
And I don't pay him.
No.
We're definitely grateful for the CRA's assistance on this project and all our projects. Their goal is ultimately to have water, wastewater infrastructure available for connection for all the residents in all the CRAs. And we've accomplished that up in Jensen Beach. That was the first grinder sewer program that we did in downtown Jensen. So now 100% of the people, businesses and residents have the ability to connect water and sewer in downtown Jensen, in the Jensen CRA. I'm sorry, Jensen CRA. And then we're moving on from CRA to accomplish the same thing. The idea behind this is that we wanted to be able to come up with a low-cost system for people to connect. In the past, if there were force mains available in the area and people could connect, they would have to hire their own engineer. They would have to design a system and get a surveyor and do a site plan and get permitting with DEP and hire a contractor and pick the right system. And by the time all that dust settled, we were looking at the $20,000 to $25,000 per home connection. And we've been working to bring that number down. We've gotten grants that we'll talk about just in a second here, and we've gotten our prices down to our current connection cost in the first year is $7,000. So we're doing what we can to bring things down. There are a total of 838 properties in the Rio area. That also includes projects outside of the CRA. We started from the west and moving east, starting on Alice, moving our way east. We felt that it made sense to do the properties south of Dixie first, the ones closest to the river that we feel would best benefit from the conversion from septic to sewer. And just logically made sense to start on the west end and move our way back. We expect completion of the first phase, I mentioned October of 2021. We're just wrapping up the next set of plans, which we'd like to have on the street pretty quick here. for Rio South, which will be completed the beginning of next year, and then right behind that, Rio Central in April of 2022. So within a year from now, we'd expect to have everyone up and available for connection. There's a fourth project out there, Rio East. It's outside of the CRA, which is, I guess, Dixie as it turns north past Langford Park. East of that and north of, I believe it's Wright. That area is outside the CRA, and that 2023 date was our original date for us to start working in the CRA. And as you can see, we're beating that by a couple of years with the assistance of the CRA. It's a single-family program. There are some places that in there that have there's some businesses, and there's multifamily, some apartments and things like that. Our program is approved by the Board of County Commissioners. It's for single-family residential and duplex residential, but there will be the mains in front of it, so businesses and multifamily will be able to connect through the use of grinder stations to those mains that we're constructing. While I say we'd like to try to get all of the Rio area converted, we've got some limits. There are some areas within the Rio CRA that are on private streets, and we don't have utility rights to bring in water or sewer to those neighborhoods. We're approached by the residents on Rio Pine Lane, and they said that they have water. They have water currently, and they said they're going to work to try to get us the easements we need so that we can extend those. So if we have the rights to be there, we'll put the force mains in there to serve the sanitary sewer needs. The grinder program works. There is small individual grinder lift stations, kind of like a disposal on steroids. The basin is about 2 feet in diameter and 6 feet tall. It's below grade. There's a small green cover that fits over the top of it, and a control panel on the wall. We use small diameter mains to connect them. So generally, dead-end streets will have a 2-inch diameter main, then they go to a 3-inch main, and the biggest main that we're going to do for approximately 240 homes in the Rio West project is 4-inch in diameter. And that'll be the main coming up Cuban and tying into Dixie. All the installation and maintenance of the grinder stations are by Martin County. We've negotiated prices on the purchase of the stations, on the install, the electric. It's truly a turnkey program where customer calls us up, we go out, visit with them, determine where the septic tank is, look at the electric panel, they sign up, they pay for the system, and then it's a one-stop shop. We take care of, they don't have to do separate permitting, they don't have to do separate bidding, they don't have to get prices from anybody, and that's the one thing that all of our customers they just love that. They don't want to go out there, and especially in today's construction atmosphere, everyone's busy and people aren't returning phone calls. We'll get them connected through the use of our contractors. The infrastructure cost goes in at no cost to the homeowners. In this case, it's the CRA paying for the backbone infrastructure. If a homeowner has a septic tank that's running and doesn't have any issues, they can continue to use it, and it doesn't cost them anything. The only caveat is if the septic tank fails, since sewer is available, they then would not be able to get a repair permit. The cost for a connection, that $7,000, is at or less than the cost of a drain field replacement, so it's an attractive option. Here's a little picture of our system. The house is on the right side, has a wall-mounted controller. The gravity pipe goes into the basin, which is below ground, and then gets pumped out into a main to the right-of-way, and then ultimately out to our force main. The force main ultimately ends up at our plant. In this case, it's up in Jensen Beach behind the high school. These pumps are powerful enough that they actually will pump up to Ocean Breeze Park from Rio, and then from there they're repumped to the Jensen Beach High School location. There are some safety measures in place at the right-of-way. There's a check valve so that in the event a line gets cut in someone's yard, if they're trenching or digging or whatever, and they break the line, we're not going to have the plant backflowing sewage from the neighborhood into their yards. And then there's also a second one at the station itself. So we've got kind of a redundant check valve. So it's nothing's impossible. We've done everything we can though to try to eliminate the possibility of having spills at inconvenience at residents' homes. Talked about the basin, the grinder pump, a small wall-mounted controller that has a alarm that will go off if there's a problem. The homeowner can reset the alarm. They call the number on the side 24/7, and we'll come out at 11 o'clock at night on Christmas Eve if we have to resolve an issue. The cost for residents to connect after the first year is $10,000, and we really believe that the systems work the best when you have a larger number of people connecting right away. It helps keep our mains flush. You start getting better benefit to the community. So that's why there's incentives within the first year to connect. We were discounting the price from $10,000 down to $8,000, giving a $2,000 discount for the first year. And then we also have another $1,000 grant through the Indian River Lagoon National Estuary Program. They gave us a $150,000 grant, which is effective last October 1st. We're going to get another grant they've already approved for this October 1st for another $150,000. We also have grants underway with EPA where they'll give us another 250 homes at $1,000 apiece for connections. So everything we do to bring the price down will increase the number of people that connect to the system. We have a financing program through the Solar Energy Loan Fund. As long as they're current on their bills, you can place it on your utility bill, and it works out to $85 a month over 10 years. It's a simple interest, so if they finance for the first 6 months and decide that they want to pay off the balance, they just pay off whatever the principal is minus whatever interest they've paid along the way. Of course, your bill is going to go up, so if you're a water-only customer, you're only paying for water supply. You're not paying for wastewater. If you add wastewater to the bill, you will add that component. The typical resident in Martin County uses 6,000 gallons of water in the single-family residential application. The water bill would probably be about $30, so your bill would go from $30 to about $75 for a typical customer. I'm a Martin County utility customer out in Palm City through a conventional gravity-based system, and the grinder-based program users don't pay different rates. The rates are uniform throughout the county, so they're not paying extra maintenance fees just because they have a grinder station that Martin County Utilities will maintain. Once we're done with the project, the homeowners will get a second letter telling them that the system's available to connect, and that's when we expect October or sooner. And we believe that we're going to do that in phases as well, so that we can respond quicker and then we can get people connected sooner. We got to the site, excuse me, meet with the homeowners and look at the septic tank and the sewer and the electrical panel. They execute an agreement that gives us permission to enter their property and maintain the system and replace components as time goes on. And it also gives us the right to terminate the agreement if they're doing things like flushing broken glass and cat litter and turkey fryers. We'll work with the homeowners to make sure they don't do those things. They install the electrical, they come back and do the basin, the lateral, and then finally do the pump setup, and they're good to go. We provide all materials and labor as we discussed. Take care of the electric, the basin, the lateral. We take care of pumping out the septic tank, clean the septic tank. We break the bottom so it doesn't hold water and fill it full of dirt. And then we report to DEP that report to the health department that these septic tanks have been abandoned. There's a provision within the Florida Administrative Code that allows us to report to the health department for septic abandonment as part of our program. Does not require a permit fee and does not require a permit for each individual home. Therefore, we're saving more money for the homeowners as well. We do all the grading, sod, cleanup associated with it. Here's the directional drill technology. Here you can see there's some underground pipes in the middle of the road. There's pavement. And this rig, and if you're driving around Ryle, you'll see a few of these on the sides of the street. And if you ever wonder what they were, they essentially push a set of rods under the street. They have the ability to turn them left, right, go up and down, avoid obstacles. They can put a stake in the ground 300 feet away, and when the drill comes up, it'll knock the stake over. They're very accurate. The drill, when it comes out, they attach the pipe to it, and then pull the pipe back, splice the ends together and work their way down to convert an entire neighborhood. The beauty is that there's No asphalt, no pavement, no driveway. We're not tearing up roads. We're not blocking driveways. I think Rio is unique in that we do have to cut into Dixie Highway to do the tie into the force main. But other than that, there will be no pavement, no asphalt, no driveway, no landscaping restoration other than some sod where we have these pits to tie in at each location. Here's some crews putting the basin in. You can see there's a hole, but it's not a monster hole. We haven't made a huge mess out of the yard. They put down plywood and tarps and things like that to try to minimize the amount of disruption out there. These are the small pipes. They're 1.25 inch diameter that take the shredded wastewater and send it out to our system. And then here on the left is a basin. This one's installed in a mulch bed. This is what the homeowners would see. The controller is mounted up on the wall with our sticker showing them who to call in case of an emergency or an alarm. And then out at the right-of-way, here is our box that we tie in with the check valve. And you can barely see the sod that was disturbed going up to the house. This is actually the original sod that was in there. They cut the sod, flip it over, and then put the sod back in so we don't get a mismatch of sod or people complaining that it wasn't sodded properly. So this seems to work pretty well. With that, that's the end of my presentation, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
I have a few questions. First of all, what kind of power hookup does that require? Is it 110 or 220?
It's a 220 circuit.
Okay, so if you don't have the capacity in your home for an additional 220 circuit, then there's additional costs involved.
Well, when we first started the program and we got involved with the electricians, my biggest concern as an engineer was, what if someone's got to go up in the attic? What if I have to get into a driveway with the power? What if I don't have room in the panel? And the electrician said, stop worrying about all of the outliers because we deal with them on a regular basis. They have the ability to use, I believe it's called a split pole breaker. So if you normally have two breakers that each take up one space, they can put in approved breakers that actually free up spaces within your panel. To date, we've done 350 grinder conversions within Martin County as part of our program, and not once have we had to do a sub panel or rebuild someone's panel or do something else with the electric. So the words of wisdom by the electrical contractor, don't worry about the outliers, has kind of come true. If there are any issues, the electrician said that they would bill at their journeyman's rate, time and material. So it's, they'll get very good rates if something has to happen. I've not come across any situations where someone's panel was defective and they could not connect. But if you get in some older houses in Rio, just like another neighborhood has their share of older homes, there may be a situation where someone's got an old 60 amp panel with screw-in fuses, and then that would be a separate condition. And they would pay for that separate outside of the program.
Okay. And if the power goes out?
The power goes out, you will lose power to your grinder, but you'll also lose power to your most of your water generating appliances, dishwashing equipment, hot water heaters. Your washing machines are not going to have power to them, so you're not going to be doing laundry. The basin, after the last time the pump turns off, has a reserve capacity of about 80 gallons. And well, 80 gallons is not a lot. If you took 20 toilet flushes at 1.6 gallons a flush, that's 30 gallons. Another 50 gallons is 20 minutes of your sink flowing full blast at 2.5 gallons a minute. So in the first 24 hours during a hurricane, everyone's kind of on their own if you've lost your power. I mean, our crews aren't out. Once the danger has passed, I'm assuming a hurricane, then we would start going out and assessing the neighborhood to find out who's got power, who doesn't have power, make sure our infrastructure hasn't had any problems. And then Martin County Utilities has a crew and that will go out there, and they have truck-mounted generators with long cords, and they'll go out to each of the homes. Hanger door hanger, Martin County Utilities was here. We pumped out your station, just some, minimize your water use during this time. You can still flush toilets and things like that. We have an agreement with a program called Florida Warn. If you think about a hurricane that makes a beeline for us, Orlando and Miami and other places may be just fine. And we can request, I need 2-man crews with 5,000 watt generators and 100-foot cords, and the office will come flooding in. After Hurricane Irma, Martin County Utilities sent folks down to the Florida Keys because we had expertise in vacuum sewer repairs. So that program works very well. But then there's also a growing movement for people to have backup generators at their own homes.
That was my next question. 'Cause it's like, they've got a generator, does it affect that system?
The controllers that's mounted on the wall with a buzzer and all like that has a socket on the side for a generator cord to plug into it. It also has an automatic transfer switch that will take priority for your generator power. So you can take a generator cord, lift it up, plug and twist lock it in there. There's about a 30-second delay, and then it takes over. It'll pump the system down, and when it's done pumping, you can disconnect it and continue about your day. If you were gone most of the day, you don't have to have power to your system constantly. If you've prepared dinner, maybe took a quick cold shower, flushed toilets a few times, and you go, at the end of the day, maybe I'll go ahead and plug my generator in. It might run for 5 minutes, and then you go back in and plug it into whatever else you might have on your house. So and the more people we talk to, a good number of them have home house generators. We have a frequently asked question flyer. We've met with homeowners out in the field. We had an elderly woman in her 70s that wanted to be able to do this herself. She dragged their 6,000 watt generator on wheels out from the garage, hooked up the cord, pulled the cord and got the thing started, and was able to power her grinder station and then disconnect it and put it all away. So it's really, it's not rocket science, and there are fail safes in there. You will not back charge the power lines and electrocute a worker working on the lines. You won't energize your neighbor's house. It won't mix with other circuits. It's safe. You can also, some homes have either whole house or partial house built-in generators. You would just have to get with your electrician to allocate this as one of the circuits that you want to include on that system. And then with the door hangers, as time goes on, we go back to the neighborhood the second day, and if we hung 30 door hangers and there's still 20 of them hanging there, those people are still away. So now I can focus on the 10 that the door hangers are gone. And eventually neighborhoods get power back, and then we're back in business again. So
Okay.
we do have a plan, but it's, we believe, well thought out.
Yeah. Okay. No, that sounds good because, like I said, I mean, you're going to run into those scenarios for sure. So,
And there's a lot of homes that out there with the elevated septic tanks. I call them the elephant burial mounds, where those have pump power. So if you lose power to your house, they don't work either. You can't pump your liquids up into the drain field, the elevated drain field.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
So if your septic system fails, is the county on hand to pump out your septic system as you wait to convert to the sewer system, or how is that going to work?
Okay, so if you are if the sewer service is available, for instance, the letter comes out in Rio and says, hey, we're ready to connect you, and we have all 240 residents on day one call us and say, me first, and we can't get to everybody all in one day. You sign up and you pay your fees. You're now a Martin County Utilities customer. At that point forward, we will pump out your septic tank once a week, once a month, whatever it takes until we can get to you. And as we speak to homeowners, one of the questions we ask them is your septic tank functioning properly, or is it failing? And we ask those that they're functioning properly initially when we get the big rush, would you mind waiting a week or two so we can take care of the people who are taking their clothes to the laundromat and they can't flush their toilets, and if it rains, all bets are off. So, and everyone is, all in it for their neighbors, and they're happy to wait that extra week or whatever it might take so we can get the emergency cases out of the way. But yes, we will pump out at our cost the septic tanks.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have one. I think I heard you say that when we're doing these septic to sewer or septic to sewer
conversions.
projects and the CRAs, particularly Rio, that the infrastructure was going to be paid for by the CRA. Is that what you said? And that homeowners would just be paying the hookup fee. Is that true?
Right. So the infrastructure cost for a grinder sewer system, the majority of the cost is the on-site cost, the station, the electric, the connection, all like that. The lesser cost is the infrastructure in the street. So we're just running a small diameter main, 2.5 to 3.5 feet deep, a couple feet off the edge of the pavement. The directional drill technology is relatively efficient. So those costs for the infrastructure are borne by CRA, Public Works, Martin County Utilities, and then the costs for the actual on-site installation would be for the homeowner. And that's why we can offer, there's no cost to the homeowner until they connect, because the infrastructure is paid for by other parties other than the homeowner, and then the homeowner, when they decide to connect, is your actual cost, or actually your discounted cost for connection.
Let me ask you something. I know that in Hobe Sound, our water company is SMRU instead of the county thing. And if and when one day this conversion comes to Hobe Sound, would we be able to work it out the same way where the infrastructure costs were paid for by SMRU or someone else, or the CRA? Or would homeowners be saddled with this cost?
So it really depends, Blake. First of all, obviously, they'd have to be in the CRA.
Mhm.
That's number one. Secondly, if you think of projects like the affordable housing project, the CRA in the county is paying for all of the infrastructure, and then what happens is we kind of turn it over to SMRU, and then they operate it. And we would look to do something like that if we could.
For the other existing properties in the Hobe Sound CRA.
Model if that were, the way we could work it out.
Right. Kind of
SMRU
probably
has
a
they have other criteria and rules and whatever. So that's for example how we did the Gomez affordable housing. So we could look to do something like that.
So Rio is our focus right now when it comes to septic to sewer conversion.
Actually, we, in all of our community redevelopment plans, infrastructure is about the number one thing that every single community said we would like to have sewer and water. And when you think about redevelopment, you really have to have that because people, businesses, even residents don't want to invest money in areas that don't have that capacity. So, you're a restaurant. Well, obviously you need to have that. You want to build a multifamily residence. Obviously you need to have that. So we've really focused our efforts in the past 4 years into doing that. The bigger ones like Palm City and Golden Gate, in terms of the septic to sewer programs, the CRA is unable to really throw money that way because they're so incredibly expensive. We had no way of doing that. So we took the money and did smaller infrastructure projects. Salerno, for example, we could do the water there. So even though the sewer program wasn't ready, we figured we could get the water piece of it done. Same thing in Jensen. So we're working on it in pieces wherever we can. Hopefully, again, with New Monrovia, maybe we'll be able to speed that one up too. Who knows?
So the goal of getting all of the CRAs fully on
water
sewer,
and wastewater.
is a big, lofty goal, probably could take decades, probably.
Not take decades.
No, it will not take decades.
No, because we are so close. We're really very close. I mean, Golden Gate will be done in 22. Palm City will be done in 23. Rio will be done in 21. Jensen is already complete, and we're working on Salerno. Hobe Sound will be the last one. That's
what I'm getting at.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
To respond back to your comment about SMRU and their program, we've had discussions with SMRU. We've given them all of our policies and agreements and details and vendors, and they can piggyback pricing. So I do believe the last discussion I had with Monica Shaner there was that they're very interested in using the components instead of reinventing the wheel and trying to come up with something different. They like the Martin County Utilities program. We spent a fair bit of time. The Board of County Commissioners gave us direction, go, do septic and sewer wherever we can. Vacuum was easy. We already had a program. We did not have a grinder program. We did not know where to begin. So we went through and benchmarked various communities from the Panhandle to Jacksonville down through Monroe County, find out how they did it. What would they not do again? What mistakes did they make? What had gone right? What had gone wrong? And we started paying attention to all of those communities, and we put together what we believe to be a framework for a very good system. We've been since contacted by half a dozen other municipalities throughout the state of Florida that want to steal our program, and our Monica Connect to Protect, the city of Port St. Lucie has just adopted that for their program. So it's imitation is a best form of flattery, and we're quite flattered that communities are looking to mimic our program. We're meeting with Seminole County in 2 weeks. They want to copy our program lock, stock, and barrel and find out how do they come up with a successful program. Another thing that came to mind when we were talking about converting homes from septic over to sewer is that there's an unintended consequence that happens when you don't just convert people over and they don't deal with the septic tanks anymore. A good example is Lighthouse Point. When I first came down here, late 70s, early 80s, I knew somebody had a house down there, a 3-1, one-car carport, big septic tank out and drain field on the front yard, and because of lot size and proximity to adjacent homes, they could not expand the house. You couldn't put a pool in, you couldn't put more than one bathroom in, you're restricted in size. Now if you go out there, literally all the homes, most of the homes have been scraped and rebuilt, and 2-story homes, lots of bedrooms and lots of bathrooms. They've used more of their lots, and that means the property values go up, which means more tax revenue, more TIF revenue for the CRAs. So it improves the quality of the neighborhoods in more ways than not having to deal with septic tanks on rainy days.
And we're attacking Hope Sound kind of in that way, like pieces. Bridge Road, we had all the laterals put in this project so that everybody could hook up on the road. The affordable housing program. So we'll continue to do that with every project that we do in Hope Sound. We're not going to leave it, in other words. So whatever projects we do there in the future, that'll be part of it.
Okay. One other question about septic abandonment. Like, say somebody hooks up, do you have to do something to get rid of your old septic tank? Or is that optional? Or
Okay, so part of the health department rules are that we have to pump out the tank, disinfect it with basically bleach. We break a hole in the bottom, the concrete slabs, it doesn't take much hitting them before they'll crack, and then fill them full of dirt, and that's what's considered to be abandoned. They abandon them in place. If a homeowner decides that their septic tank and drain field are right in the middle of where they're expanding a building or putting a pool or something else, then they would have to have that removed as part of the scope of that other work. So we don't pull out the septic tanks, would make a huge mess, and then our price would we'd add thousands to each individual homeowner cost, when if you've got a septic tank in your front yard that's doing nothing, it's full of dirt, why, you can plant a tree over it or next to it for all we care at that point, or put a tree in the middle of your drain field where before that would have been a really bad idea.
And then one more. You mentioned the self program, 10%, 8%, 10 years.
Correct.
And is that a common program to use for this type of work in all of the CRAs? I mean, like, because I've been familiar with that program in the past in other contexts. So, like, is that the way this is normally financed?
Well, we have we initially wanted to finance this project internally, and we were going to do, put it on our bills, and we found out that very quickly about 25% of the people wanted to finance, given the option of financing or paying cash. And Martin County Utilities, Martin County in general, we're not bankers, and we set aside $200,000 initially for the program, and it lasted maybe 45 days in that calendar year before we ran out of money. And then we came to the realization we had to go to the outside for help. SELF has a program in place to qualify folks. Usually it takes 48 hours to get approved from when they submit. Everything's online. And then they give us a notification, and we start the process as if they paid via check or credit card or something else. So it's been successful. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but it's around 25% of the people are interested in financing out of 350. It's a good number. It's been well received, and because there's no prepayment penalty, somebody can decide a year from now or 6 months from now, or 5 years from now to pay it off. Mm-hmm. And there's other ways. People can get home equity loans. They can get their own financing. They can put on a credit card. There's other things that they can do. It's just another tool to assist people with spreading that out over time.
Okay.
Which if you had a septic tank drain field replacement, they want cash today. They won't finance something over time. So we felt that was a benefit too.
And then, so if I understand what you said correctly about multifamily homes, the owner of those properties are responsible for getting a grinder system themselves and hooking up to the sewers?
Correct.
Like the Rio Town Center, they're going to have a number of these grinder systems as part of the project that they're doing with you. They're working with your group, I assume,
Actually,
figuring that out.
in the Rio Town Center, utilities did a big project a while back, and they built a big lift station with gravity. So that entire Rio Town Center will be served via gravity. There won't be any grinders in that area.
Where's that lift station? Where's that located?
Up Martin, if you go north of Dixie on Martin, back in behind the trailer park, it's back off of,
All of that would be.
yeah, back up in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know where
It's
it
back
is.
up off, but we ran gravity lines all throughout the community there to cover that project.
Way back 15 years ago, or whatever.
Yeah. And in my former life, I was one of the engineers for that Martin Town Center, and we were able to accommodate all the that project via gravity. So.
Thank you.
Real quick, just do you plan on doing meetings like this with the residents before each phase of the conversion, right?
Correct. Everyone gets a letter to invite them to a public hearing. In fact, this was the first meeting since this whole COVID thing popped up that we actually had face-to-face. So it's nice to see people getting together in an informal setting instead of just sending a letter. They get a second letter after the system is available to connect, and it sets that one-year anniversary date. So if it's October 20th of 2021, they have until October 19th of 2022 to get the one-year discount. About 11 months later, we'll send another letter out, and we've done this for all of our projects, saying, hey, your one-year anniversary is up the next year. Just a reminder, time flies. If you want to connect and get that discount, you have another 30 days to do that. And we do get a little blip of homeowners saying, wow, it's been that long, I almost forgot about it. Yes, I want to do it before the discount date is up. So we try to communicate to the extent possible because we'd like people to connect. We understand the advantages and the health benefits of the river and community. There's some areas that septic tanks work better than others. We did a big project in Tropical Farms, and last summer's heavy rains that we had, the soils, age of the septic tanks, I'm not sure what it was, but it was a perfect storm that we were working with Public Works to do the backbone infrastructure at the same time they did drainage out there. And septic tanks were failing left and right. And when we sent them the letter on January 2nd, our phones exploded with people who wanted to connect right away. So there's a lot that goes into trying to find the neighborhoods to put these in, and you would think Tropical Farms not being on the river, is that a priority? No, but we did have the assistance of Public Works to do it at a financially feasible price point, and based on the number of people that are connected, we're 6 months in and we're pushing 40%, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
And Mike Jordan will bring all that info to the NAC as well. You know, the dates and the meetings, and look at him. It's like, did you hear that?
Okay, anybody else? Any questions? Well, thank you, Leo. We appreciate the presentation. Thank you. Okay, at this time, we will go back for any public comment. Any public comment?
Again, from Rio. Just want to clarify for some of the newer members of the agency. Our CRA neighborhoods are all pretty much historic. They have very old failing septic systems that are leaking dramatically, and in Rio in particular, that we have, I think, three CRA neighborhoods that are near the river. And this program, Septic to Sewer, is vital for our environment, in addition to the fact that the septics are failing already. In Rio in particular, we have very small lots where you have your wells almost directly next to your drain field. So you are drinking possibly water that is polluted, so to speak, your septic water. The other thing I would like to bring up is we have, as I recall, 11 private streets in Rio. The Rio Civic Club has tried, along with utilities, to, when we did hold a meeting 2 to 3 years ago to try and convince the people on the private streets to please consider a septic system, municipal system, and we couldn't get buy-in because they have to donate 100% of the people that live on those private streets have to donate right away. Just this is a matter of education for you. So we have 10 streets that do not have municipal water, nor do they obviously have a sewer. We have one street, Rio Pine, that someone paid for water to come down their street. I have a feeling it was probably the party at the very end of the street that's on the waterfront that could afford it. And they have gone obviously to Leo and asked for the sewer, which is wonderful. But we have tried within our community to get these private streets to hook up, donate right away, and there's always one or two property owners who absolutely refuse. And so I'm suggesting to you all, if you have this situation in other CRA neighborhoods, which I don't know, but I know we've had this in Rio, we have that serious problem to really consider. That's a lot of private streets. Most of them are cul-de-sacs. They either end at the railroad tracks or they end at the river or nearby, except for Seahorse, which just dead ends over at a condominium, which is River Club. So please keep that in mind. How do we get those 10 streets to tie in and do something for them? How do we encourage them to do that? Also, with regard to the demolition, I have a question. Is the glass home the one that is going to be preserved, Judge Trowbridge? The glass home is located right next to the Rio Civic Center. I did not do a historic research on it, but I suspect that it is close to being historic. I knew that former City Commissioner Kelly Glass-Layton grew up in that home, so she's in her mid-40s. She's the same age as my daughter. So I'm assuming that that home is probably getting close to 45 to 50 years old, 50 making it historic. I have never been inside the home, but I know it's a frame home. I know that they did a little remodeling when Rhonda Glass and Bubba Glass lived in it. The Glass family is another historic home in Rio. As a matter of fact, the former Glass home is on the local register, and it's owned by Stan and his wife Brenda, who are not in the Glass family. So I would suggest that before any demolition thoughts go into that home, that we look into possibly moving that home somewhere. The CRA, in combination with Martin County, own a lot across the street that possibly it could be moved to. There are mobile homes behind it that maybe a mobile home could be changed or moved, and this home could replace a mobile home. But what I'm saying is, before we take it to the landfill, let's look into trying to move it and preserve it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Any other member comments?
Yeah, I have a follow-up to what Julie mentioned about private roads. What I learned, I live on a private road in Hobestown, and we had to take up a neighborhood collection to get our road paved because it's a private road. And I learned a little bit about what is involved in converting a private road over to a county road. And it's quite a process where the right-of-ways have to be given, and that vote has to be 100%. You got to get every single person on the street to agree to donate part of their yard to the county. And that's where we instantly ran into problems. So we had to leave it a private road and just take up a collection. That's the way we ended up resolving it. But that's a big challenge. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Blake. Any other comments? No? Staff?
I have a few updates.
Okay.
I'm going to ask Krista to give us our last legislative update, or hopefully our last.
Well, during Leo's presentation, I took an opportunity to see if any other bills had been submitted to the governor. And as of today, two that we had been following of interest did make it to the governor's desk. The first one was the bill regarding home-based businesses, which would, as you may recall, this would preempt local governments from regulating basically any home-based business. So it would allow businesses to be located within residential areas and very little, if any, ability by local governments to impose any enforcement or regulation. It's very concerning. There are some parameters. There were two bills that were filed. This is the better one that came out of the House, House Bill 403, and I've, the luxury of looking on my phone a little bit, but there is some ability. Things are precluded from being noxious fumes and those dust and those kind of things. But basically, these have to be treated like any other business, and there's no provision that would require anything, parking and everything else across the board. It is concerning for our residential neighborhoods. Right now, the county, Martin County, like many other local governments, have a provision for, what do we call it? Not home-based businesses, but home occupations. But the basic premise hit there is you can have a business in your home, but it's got to look and operate like your home with limited impact to your neighbors.
We have them in our LDRs for everybody, yeah. It's in-
That's right.
We have our
So
own.
those will not be, those regulations
Not
will
apply.
not be enforceable if the governor signs. Now, there is, if you are a person who lives within a regulated HOA or a condominium or something like that, this wouldn't supersede those covenants, but CRA areas, some of our areas similarly situated could be adversely affected, and it is a enforcement and code enforcement issue that comes up periodically about my neighbor is doing X, Y, and Z. The companion bill, the cottage food industry bill, also made its way to the governor's desk today. This is the one that would increase the size of basically a kitchen to be operated out of one's home. I think it doubled, tripled the capacity. There's similar philosophies, I would say, coming out of the legislature. At one level, certainly understanding the ability to allow people to make a living, but it appears to be at the expense of residential communities where people expected that they were residing in a residential area. So those have been submitted to the governor. He would now have 10 days to veto, to sign, or let go into effect without his signature. So we've been monitoring these. I've been monitoring these as well as some other preemption bills. And many of these bills, their effective dates were July 1st. So, that's in a few days. So suddenly there's some movement. Other things came forward to the governor. We also talked about, I think maybe at one time, the impact fee bill that restricted local government's ability to impose or add to impact fees. The governor did sign that. That's in effect. That, depending on one's perspective, may be concerning because that's a mechanism that growth can pay for what the impacts it causes. And so there can be impact fees imposed, but there's significant restrictions in terms of that. And so I think I went back a few meetings ago, those were the bills we were following. Oh, the business design regulations that would have precluded architectural design standards to be imposed. Both the House and the Senate bills died at the last, Those didn't move forward. The CRAs would have been exempted from that prohibition and some other things, but checking again, those did not move forward. So the CRAs would have been okay, but I'm not sure what happened with that. But That's my happy report to you. As you can see, as a local government attorney, I'm not very pleased about it. And from an enforcement standpoint, I mean, so now our code enforcement division is going to have to be telling individuals that there is nothing we can do. And we're going to have to be explaining that to people in terms of
God, the smell.
these businesses.
We already do that.
It's
Now
concerning.
it's gonna be worse.
It's very concerning, I will tell you. So,
I had a couple of other, thank you, Krista. I had a couple of other updates for you. I wanted to just let you know that we submitted 2 award applications to FRA. One is for our annual report, which is a category. And there's another category called planning studies. And we went ahead and submitted our code project, which we call redefining redevelopment through regulation. For that category. And it's interesting to note that they did this a couple of years ago. They split the awards into large and small because you've got, Pahokee County kind of on the, putting in the same award potential that Miami was. And it's really kind of not fair because Miami has millions and millions of dollars and poor Pahokee had, $100,000. So they did it in large and small. For us, that kind of split didn't work out great because the small are municipalities that are under 25,000. So so we're about 150,000 here in Martin County. So we're still in the category with all the big boys. So Orlando and Tampa and Miami and Lauderdale and all the bigger places. So we'll see how we do. There is an ethics training out there being given through the Florida League of Cities. And Krista, a question for you. I was going to forward it to all of you just because it was easy. It was like click here, register, listen to the webinar kind of thing. But it said it was for elected officials. Does that matter?
well,
Because it's the same.
the rules are slightly different for appointed members, but still ethics is.
Because they changed that last year, I want to say, or the year before, that everybody had to do the 4 hours.
Right, and I watched that, and it felt like it was not talking to me. It was talking to like an elected official. Yeah.
There's a difference in some of the
I just wanted-
requirements.
I mean, it's a requirement that you have. This looked kind of simple to do. I'll send it to all of you, and you can.
You want to send it to me, and then I can look at it too, just
Okay, sure.
confirm if there's something else being offered.
Okay. So look for that. If you see something like that come from me, Florida League of Cities, that's what it is. If Krista has 86'd it, you will not see it. And she's decided inappropriate. Last thing I wanted to let everyone know is we are working on our website, and then we're going to use the 7 of you as customers. So get ready for that in the future. I know people have gone on the website trying to figure out, I'm a developer, I'm a homeowner, I'm a this, whatever it is, and how do I navigate this? So we would like you all to, take on a persona of one of those when we're done and see how you do. Just a little kind of fun survey game we're gonna play, but that probably won't be for about another month, maybe 2, depending on how quickly all that happens. And that's all I have for today. So thank you all very much.
All right, thank you. All righty, there being no further business, this meeting is adjourned.